Hey everyone, I'm back with the part 2 foam rolling with a paired targeted stretch, but now for the upper body. If you already haven't seen the previous video where we go over the lower body, go check it out, because what I do is I also explain why it's very good to pair the foam rolling with the stretch together. So let's get started with that upper body foam rolling and stretch.
Beginning with the lower back, you will place the foam roller at the lower end of your spine towards your hips. Keep your core engaged in order to keep the spine straight in a neutral position. Unable to do so, you can drop your forearms or hands onto the mat to relieve stress on the spine. Just make sure to not let the shoulders fall to the ground because this will hyperextend the back. You can complete quick movements up and down or even side to side to break up fascia for a pre-workout or long holds to release knots for a post-workout. As we slowly work up the spine towards your upper back, you can bring your hands to hold your head or try to bring your arms straight over the head to open up the chest and shoulders. If needing to go deeper inside the shoulders, hitting the rhomboid muscles, you can separate the shoulders by giving yourself a big bear hug. Don't forget to take some deep breaths, especially on the longer holds. This first stretch is called the child's pose. You will begin by kneeling on the mat, sitting back on the heels. Bring your arms extended over the head and reach as far out as you can. Try to lengthen and extend the neck and arms as your forehead touches the ground. You can then bring your left hand over your right hand and pull back on the left hip, making sure it is seated on the heel. Complete the same movement over to your left hand. And then end it back in the neutral position. You will want to hold 5 to 10 seconds with 1 to 3 sets for a warm-up, or hold 15 to 30 seconds with 2 to 3 sets for a cool down. This next stretch is called the open book stretch. You will begin by laying on one of your sides with hips and knees bent at 90 degrees. You will have your arms in a 90-degree position meeting fingertip to fingertip. From here, you will slowly rotate your arm and trunk to the opposite side of your body. You will feel this stretch in your chest and also your middle to upper back. Try to see if you can bring your shoulder blades flush to the mat while keeping your knees together. This is where you can hold your position. Once holding the position, you will gently bring your hand back to your other, fingertip to fingertip. Complete this a few times before switching over to the other side. As we foam roll the back of the neck, you will want to place the foam roller at the base of the skull. From here, you will just let the weight of your head create light pressure on the neck. You can slowly rotate your head from left to right to break up fascia, or just hold the position on your tender areas to release any knots. Avoid any nerve-like or sharp pain. If needing more pressure, you can place your hands on your forehead and slightly push against the head. Now we will be targeting the front of the neck, which can be a root cause of why the back of the neck is stressed. You will place your left thumb above your clavicle, also known as your collarbone, on the right side. While creating pressure on the front of your neck, you will rotate your head away and look up while keeping your jaw closed. Release pressure and bring head back to neutral position. Repeat this 3 to 5 times in different areas to break up the fascia in the front of the neck. Don't forget to repeat on the opposite side. To begin your neck stretch, you will begin with the right hand reaching down into your left back pocket. The goal is to get your shoulder to drop down. If unable to reach all the way to your left back side, just focus on dropping your right shoulder down. You can also do this sitting down and reaching for the bottom of your seat. Again, the focus is to keep the right shoulder dropped. While your right arm is in this position, you will use your 2 fingers with your left hand and place them on the right side of your head in order to tilt the head to the left. All you need is light pressure because we are looking for tension and not pain. This stretch is great for the upper trapezius. Now, if we bring your 2 fingers more towards the front right side of the head, you can now tilt your head back to the left. This will stretch your sternocleidomastoid. Now you will bring your 2 fingers towards the back right side of your head and pull your head to the front left. You are now stretching the levator scapulae. Do not forget to repeat on the other side. As we foam roll the back of the shoulder and latissimus dorsi, you will begin on one side. Place the foam roller below the outside of the armpit. With your opposite arm, you can hold your head up to not stress your neck. You can always wedge a bottle or a rolled up towel in between your shoulder and head if needing to rest the opposite arm. You will be rolling about 6 inches below the armpit, but be careful to not go too low onto the rib cage. Try not to go directly over the armpit due to possibly hitting nerves. Stay on the back side of the pit. You can roll more towards the back of the shoulder, but only go as low as the tip of the shoulder blade. Back and forth movements help to break up fascia, while holding the tender spots will help with releasing knots. Stretch the latissimus dorsi, you will place your hands up on the wall. You will then bend at the hips down to the ground. Try to keep your head and spine in a nice straight neutral alignment. Do not arch the back or push your head down to the ground. If you feel this in your hamstrings, you will need to place your hands up higher on the wall. Hold the stretch for 5 to 10 seconds, 1 to 3 sets for a warm-up, or hold the stretch for 15 to 30 seconds, 2 to 3 sets for a cool down. To foam roll the chest, you will place the foam roller in a diagonal position in between the chest and shoulder. You will lay on the ground against the foam roller. You can move your arm up and down to break up the fascia in that area, or simply just hold on a tender spot to release tension. Stretch the chest, you will go to a corner of the room or doorway and place your hands up high into a wide position. From here, you will want to make sure you are not leaning into the wall. Keep your back and head nice and straight and scoot toward the corner or through the doorway just enough to feel tension. Keep upper traps from tightening by keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears. For the next position, you will take a couple steps back. Bring hands slightly down into a goalpost position and then take small steps into the corner or doorway until feeling the tension in the chest. Coming back to the original position, you will now bring hands even lower, creating a W position with your arms. You will then take a couple steps into the corner or doorway to create tension. Remember to drop your shoulders down away from the ears. Now return to the neutral position and slide hands all the way down, where now your hands are at or below the hips. Walk into the corner or doorway until you feel the tension. This is a good stretch for not only the chest, but also the biceps. To break up fascia in the forearms, you can use a foam roller. However, we will be using a lacrosse ball to hit the smaller muscles in this area. If this is too much pressure, you can use a softer ball such as a tennis or a racquetball. Roll both sides of the arm. While doing so, you can imagine yourself knocking on the door with the movement of your wrist while keeping the ball or foam roller in one position. You can also keep this position and simply open and close your hand into a fist. You'll want to do this on the top and bottom of your forearm to target your wrist and hand extensor and flexor muscles. Another way to break up tissue in this area is by squeezing your forearm with the pointer and thumb. While keeping pressure, you will create the same movements, opening and closing your hands into a fist, and flexing your wrist back and forth as if you were knocking on the door. Release pressure and squeeze another area, repeating these same movements. Try to target the bulky portion of the forearm towards the elbow. For the first forearm stretch, you will begin on the ground or a low table with fingers spread out and externally rotated. Place the hands on the flat surface. Fingers should be pointing towards your knees. Do not force palms all the way down if this is too much tension. You can always work your way to that position. You are now stretching your fingers and wrist flexors. If needing more tension, you can bring your hips back towards your heels. You can also stretch your pronators and supinators in your forearm by rotating your elbows and shoulders back and forth. However, if this causes too much pain, just stay in the original position and hold. For the next forearm stretch, you will now spread your fingers out and bend forward at the wrist. Place the top side of your hand on the flat surface. Fingers are still pointing back towards the knees with palms face up. Increase tension by bringing hips towards the heels. You are now stretching your finger and wrist extensors. To stretch the pronators and supinators, you will rotate the elbows and shoulders back and forth. Keep in mind to hold the position at anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds for a warm-up or 15 to 30 seconds for a cool down. For the last forearm stretch, you will spread your fingers and tilt both hands out to the side. The closer you have your hands together, the more tension you will feel. Place hands on the flat surface with palms facing down. From here, you will move your body in a sideways figure 8 or an infinity symbol around the wrists. Complete a few rotations and then reverse your direction. This is another great flexor stretch. This wraps up the foam rolling and stretch for the upper body. Stay tuned for more.